Health Studios. This is KSL News Radio,
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story, Taylorsville police are searching for a man accused of stabbing two other men during a mugging. Police say the two men were pulled over on the side of the road because of an issue with the car. The suspect threatened them with a knife, demanded money, and after not being satisfied with the amount, stabbed them. Anyone with information is encouraged to contact police. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President-elect Donald Trump is the first U.S. president to be sentenced to a felony crime. The judge sentenced him to an unconditional discharge, but declined to impose any punishment. It cements his conviction, so he is now officially a convicted felon, but allows him to return to the White House without the threat of jail time or a fine. ABC's Aaron Katersky was in the courtroom.
Just extraordinary to see the president-elect in that moment beaming into the courtroom virtually while the judge imposed the sentence. Trump listed his now familiar complaints about his treatment and the case.
The president-elect insists he is innocent and did nothing wrong. Your money at this hour, the Dow is off 619 now. That is 1.5%. We're just barely over 42,000 at 42,012. Coming up today, sunshine and then snow moves in overnight. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time is 9:02. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Boy, right after the holidays, everyone needs a little cash, right?
Oh, yes.
We have great news for you. Right now, UCCU, Utah Community Credit Union, will pay you for your auto loan and credit balances. So all you have to do is just transfer your auto loan or your credit card balance to UCCU. And on top of giving you a low interest rate, which will save you money, UCCU will give you 1% cash back up to $250 on every loan you transfer.
Amanda, as soon as I heard about this, I said, I'm in this exact situation. I transferred. I actually had to have two loans to get my car a year ago.
Yeah.
Long story. Got it consolidated into one, and they paid me 1% back for each thing. I've got one payment now instead of two. It's so much easier, and it took me maybe basically an hour. I just went straight to the website. I applied. They said, you got to send me these documents. I did. And all of a sudden, within a couple of days, I had it all set.
This is how easy they are to work with. Always looking for ways to help you and your family. You can find out more on the UCCU mobile banking app or just go to uccu.com/transfer. Utah Community Credit Union. You're going to love where you bank.
You might not consider yourself a tech expert, but that doesn't mean you can't protect yourself from online scammers with a little help from McAfee Total Protection. Whether it's a fake missed delivery text or an urgent bank alert, these scams can look incredibly convincing. That's where McAfee Total Protection steps in. So go ahead, manage your finances and shop online. McAfee will help keep your device's privacy and identity safer. Visit McAfee.com/online protection today to get award-winning online protection for just $39.99 your first year. That's McAfee.com/online protection. Cancel anytime. Terms apply.
Your little one deserves a big welcome. From before the baby bump to baby in your arms, Common Spirit Health OBGYN physicians and certified nurse midwives are here for the labor, the love, and every moment in between. We specialize in prenatal, pregnancy, childbirth, and postpartum care to help you navigate this journey with confidence and joy. So when the big moment arrives, you can welcome baby with the warmest hello of all. Hello, human kindness. mountain.commonspirit.org.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by My Style Checking from Mountain America Credit Union. And here's Heather Kelly.
We still have delays northbound I-15 between 4500 South and Murray up to the I-80 East split in South Salt Lake. It's due to a crash that had been blocking 4 right lanes of the freeway. Now they've got it moved over to the 2 right lanes, but that is right where people want to merge to I-80, so it's causing a little bit of difficulty there. We also have delays in Utah County coming out of Eagle Mountain on SR 73. It's due to a crash just past Mount Airy Drive as you head toward Redwood Road, so that's causing quite a bit of backup in the area of people trying to get to Saratoga Springs. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll get a modest storm overnight into tomorrow morning, but this afternoon will be just cold with highs in the 30s. Right now, partly cloudy and 27 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Hey, we know that the TikTok hearing is going on at the Supreme Court of the United States right now, where TikTok is trying to keep the app from being banned, taken off the app stores, platforms. They've got just a few days to do that. So time is of the essence for TikTok. The government wants the thing banned altogether out of the United States. I was listening to a good 30 minutes of this morning's hearing, listening to the justices question TikTok's attorney. I'll tell you right now, I was taking notes, and at one point I realized this is a lot of legalese mumble-jumble. I'm not understanding where they're going with all of this. So we've got the legalese mumble-jumble department, the D2 research department on this. They're watching it closely, and if anything big breaks, we'll keep you posted.
Now let's just say all of this goes through. TikTok gets banned. Who's enforcing this? Is somebody going to require me to turn over my phone to delete? Like, all right, everybody, pinky promise you're going to delete TikTok, because I 100% will be a rule breaker here. I will be a lawbreaker. I'm not deleting TikTok.
In all seriousness, we know in talking to business owners who use TikTok for advertising, their products, or, mothers, we've talked to moms who are using TikTok as a way to bring in income to their families. A lot of people watching this with a very concerning eye, and just, their fate, quite frankly, financial fate, at least temporarily, lies in the hands of the Supreme Court justices.
Well, if one thing we learned is prohibition is super effective, so I'm sure banning TikTok is not going to absolutely cement people into using that app. No, of course, this is going to be the most popular app in the history of apps if you ban it.
Let's get to our top national story.
Dave and Dujanovic, special coverage of the top national story.
The sheriff in Los Angeles County warning looters to stay out, telling people there's a 6 p.m. curfew tonight, 6 p.m. till 6 a.m., and bringing in the National Guard.
It was wild. We just started seeing all these cars pull up, doors open, and groups of men running up our street, going up to the doors of these houses. And we weren't sure what was going on. I'm thinking, are these people here to help my neighbors? I hope so. And I left, and then my husband talked to the police and said, what are those guys doing? These guys don't live here. Get them out. There were like 100 people that came up on scooters and were trying to get into any and all houses on the street.
Isn't that just so wild? They are rolling up on scooters, piling out of cars to loot these areas that have been evacuated. And the neighbors, I love this story from this lady. She initially is thinking the best in people. Oh, maybe they're here to rescue and help people move out. No, they're there to loot. They're there to steal your stuff.
Well, it's become a looter's paradise there, because
Totally.
180,000 people been evacuated. We spoke to one of them. Matt Shepard lives in a apartment with his wife. They got out. They left. They live in Hollywood. And he, in fact, told us yesterday when he joined us live, as the fires were still raging, they were at her parents' home. He's like, we're not going to go back. We're not going to go back because of the looter warning.
That's actually a point that I had brought up to my wife before, because we're with her parents. They live down in the Venice Beach area. And I said, even just leaving, if it wasn't for the fires, it was just because who knows what sort of exactly for the looting and things like that, just for safety, it might be better just to stay away. So we're actually going to spend like another day here before we even head home. But also, I think in a city like LA, some of that stuff is expected to happen.
Isn't that one of the most chilling things? Is the very last thing he mentioned. You know, in LA, this is kind of expected. I mean, that was a chilling statement to me. Now, this has been going on for the last 24 hours. The looting has happened. Again, gangs of people showing up on scooters, infiltrating these areas, 100 people by one account into this neighborhood, and they're just looting. Why is it so slowly rolled out when it comes to the National Guard? This is this is a perfect time for the National Guard to come into these evacuated areas and to secure them. And the reason that is so crucial, in my opinion, Debbie, why you have to say, if we're evacuating this area, we're going to have the National Guard there to protect your stuff, is because so many people, I think, will either choose not to leave because they're afraid they're going to get all their stuff stolen, and they'll put their lives at risk. You need to, if you evacuate an area, let people know that their stuff is still going to be safe. It's still going to be there for when they return, if it doesn't get burned down.
Well, I think that law enforcement, tries to do something about it. Get the sheriff in LA County talking about that.
I don't have to wait for the sun to go down or the sun to come up. If you are in one of these areas and you do not belong there, you are going to be subject to arrest.
Okay, so if you commit crimes, it's a felony. But I don't know what the rules are in terms of protecting your property. So let's say you are still sticking around in an area that was loosely evacuated or just outside the evacuation zone. Somebody tries to break into your home. I mean, we heard this from this woman right off the top of this discussion.
It was wild. We just started seeing all these cars pull up, doors open, and groups of men running up our street, going up to the doors of these houses. And we weren't sure what was going on. I'm thinking, are these people here to help my neighbors? I hope so. And I left, and then my husband talked to the police and said, what are those guys doing? These guys don't live here. Get them out. There were like 100 people that came up on scooters and were trying to get into any and all houses on the street.
And all resources are strained right now. Firefighters, first responders, paramedics, police, I get it. That's why I think it is so crucial that the National Guard gets involved, gets called up. You could draw help from other states if you need to, because it is just so incredibly dangerous when you start bringing looters into your area, because you don't know how the homeowner is going to react.
Greg Skordas, our KSL legal analyst, is on the line with us. You've been listening to this conversation and probably heard that woman's account of what's been happening in her neighborhood. If somebody started looting around here after a natural disaster, what would be like Dave's legal rights as a property owner? What kind of action could he take?
So what you really need to do is put the sort of the natural disaster part aside a little bit and just think about someone coming into your home, whether there's a fire outside, whether there's a reason you're not supposed to be there or not. A person in Utah, and I assume California is very similar, can protect their home. And that means they can use deadly force against an intruder. If the intruder's entry is what we call violent or surreptitious or not something that was invited necessarily. So, I mean, if you are home and even if you're not supposed to be there because of your evacuation order and people start coming into your home, you use whatever force is necessary to protect yourself and your home, because we assume if someone's coming into your home that you are at risk, not just your property.
Well, I was going to say, and these looters, like I said, it's a looter's paradise because they know 180,000 people have been evacuated. Even if 9,000 structures have burned, but even if a structure hasn't burned, it could be that the homeowner or the tenant has fled because they've been told to flee. So this is wide open, right? This is open season for looters.
Oh, no, it's horrible. And it's like Dave said, maybe we need to get other resources there. But it's also like Dave said that the resources are stretched very thin right now. Do we need National Guard to come in and protect homes? Probably. And is the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, going to be called out on the carpet for not having resources in place? He already is. We've seen that. I think the mayor is also under the gun a little bit because people expect when the government tells them to leave their house, that the government's going to do something to protect their house. I think that's a reasonable expectation. So, yeah, I mean, you don't want what you guys just talked about, which is people staying back because they're afraid of being looted, sort of having to weigh the risk of being burned and the risk of having your house looted. I mean, that's a decision nobody should have to make.
Greg, I think about the riots that were happening in Wisconsin after a police shooting. I believe it was the Jacob Blake shooting, and there was riots that were going on there. That was where the Kyle Rittenhouse story unfolded, where people were showing up to quote unquote protect businesses, and in that case, Kyle Rittenhouse ended up shooting somebody, killing someone, was charged with a crime, charged with murder, ultimately acquitted. But it was all because it was supposed to be to defend it against looters. So I think it just points, to the fact how dangerous this thing can become. How does things change? You're talking about personal homes and property, but what about businesses?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. In the Rittenhouse case, that's not the best example because he was sort of vigilante, protecting property, protecting other people's property. You don't have the same rights when it's a business. You have rights when it's a dwelling, when it's someplace you live, where you expect a high expectation of privacy and a high expectation that no one's going to intrude. Having your used car lot vandalized or something like that, you can take steps, but you can't use deadly force in that instance. And that case you're talking about, it's a great example, Dave. It's a great example, but it's very much an anomaly. And I absolutely don't recommend anything like that vigilante acts that was happening in that case.
So it is different. I think that was kind of the point that I was looking for is the same rights and the same laws don't necessarily apply for a business.
Yeah, they don't apply to property as much to an individual. And a home is much more protected than a structure like a business or an outbuilding or something like that.
Greg Skordas, our KSL legal analyst, thank you so much for staying on the clock and on call for us this morning. Heard you this morning on Utah's Morning News talking about Trump's getting sentenced with no penalty at all, no punishment there. So appreciate that, and joining us right now as well to talk about the looting that is going on in the Los Angeles area. We talked to one resident there who lives there, who fled his home with his wife. Lived in an apartment there. They said they're going to stay away from the Hollywood area because of the potential for looting.
That's actually a point that I had brought up to my wife before because we're with her parents. They live down in the Venice Beach area. And I said even just leaving, if it wasn't for the fires, it was just because who knows what sort of exactly for the looting and things like that, just for safety, it might be better just to stay away. So we're actually going to spend like another day here before
I agree with Matt.
Head home.
Stay away for the potential to be confronted or have your home broken into while you're trying to sleep. Even if, and he said his apartment was fine, right? It did not get overtaken by the massive flames in the Hollywood area. But I would stay away for that. Absolutely, just stay out of the chaos. But I am not married to stuff. And if I'm told to flee my home to save my life and save my kitty cat's life and my kids' lives, if they happen to be with me at the time, I'm basically an empty nester now, so I don't have those same worries. But if I was told to leave because my home was going to burn, I would expect my stuff to be gone anyway. And if I came back...
You're already saying bye?
Yeah, if I came back and my home was still standing and nothing was charred, I'd be like, oh, there's a blessing. There's a blessing. But if somebody were to come into my home because I was evacuated, maybe my neighbor's home's burned or whatever, and we're told to stay out of the area so I don't come back in, have at it. I mean, have at it.
Stuff is stuff to you.
Yeah, stuff is stuff. I'm not saying it's right that the looters, absolutely not. And if, the L.A. County Sheriff is sending that warning and sending the National Guard in and he's going to arrest everybody and charge them with a felony, great. But for me, as a homeowner, I was looking around today because I had a feeling we might talk about this morning. I'm like, I don't know, have my sofa. you're going to take my kids' pictures. I mean, from when they were babies, that was going to break my heart. But at the end of the day, they're not going to want those things anyways after I pass on to the next world. So Dave, I just have maybe a different point of view about that.
Well, I look at it. You're going to have cash, jewelry, guns. Stuff that is incredibly memorable to you. And just because you evacuate, I don't think anytime you evacuate, you're just saying goodbye to everything. It's the hope that I get a return. Hopefully they'll get it under control. And I don't think everyone that evacuates is just like, well, everything in my life is gone now. I think there is an expectation I'm going to return. First responders are going to get this under control, and I'm going to be able to return to my house. And if we cannot crack down on the looters and stop it, people will absolutely stay behind to protect their stuff, because this is my hard-earned money. Maybe I don't have the financial wherewithal to just say so long to stuff. I'm not saying that we should ever put our lives in danger for stuff. I'm with you. Stuff is stuff. But at the same time, I also understand if you've got thousands of dollars and you cannot financially take the hit of having your house robbed and stolen, you don't want that violation. I can totally see why people would stay behind. I'm absolutely empathetic with that, which is why it is absolutely crucial that the government steps up, and the National Guard is built for this. They are built to come in masse. There's 24,000 California National Guardsmen. They can absolutely come to this area, flood it, find the evacuation zones, and protect people so they don't feel like they have to stay behind to protect their stuff.
So it sounds like what you're calling for is some sort of a protocol that's in place, like an automated response for when a major natural disaster hits an area. To activate the National Guard right away. Like, basically, the governor doesn't even need to ask. The National Guard is already suiting up and rolling out with their equipment and personnel to start, where it's safe to do so, not get in the way of firefighters, because that's not the National Guard's mission, but to protect property and stuff. That's interesting.
What looter is going to roll in on their scooters?
With a tank sitting there.
With a tank or a Humvee with National Guardsmen with assault rifles. Like, no one's they're gonna go to the next neighborhood. So I think it's in our own best interest, our own safety, that we can trust if we've been evacuated that our stuff's going to be safe. And I cannot believe they were still debating until this morning. Should we call up the National Guard? Of course you should have. You should have done it 2 days ago.
Yeah. Well, I think where I'm trying to go with this is like, look, you got to expect. I would just expect that if a natural disaster hit my community, there's a good chance, especially fire, my stuff's going to go away anyway. And if the looters show up because the National Guard isn't posted at the end of my street and they take my stuff, I've just come to the point in my life where stuff is stuff. I'm not married to my stuff. Also, I have, thankfully, we talked about, how you can easily get canceled from your homeowner's insurance policy. I have homeowner's insurance, so my stuff is insured, right? Sounds like a big pain, though, to go around, try to figure out what you own. But I bet you most of us haven't done something that would make our life so much easier if our stuff did disappear, even if we're just burglarized.
Yes.
Which is documenting our stuff. You haven't taken photos. You don't keep the receipts. You don't have video of the stuff you own.
Can I give a quick tip?
Go ahead,
Okay,
please.
Because you're absolutely right. I think none of us have done this. We've done a poor job of documenting. Grab your iPhone, go room to room, and just record everything, right? Just record everything that's in your drawers. Do a quick little narration. It doesn't need to be highly produced. Just a walk and talk. Hey, this is the TV. This is the jewelry. This is the guns. This is the hidden stack of cash and the jewelry. And then you save that on a Google Drive. You can secure it. You can hide it for later. So if your home does get looted, if it does burn down, if it gets swept away in a raging
or
river.
Gets just burglarized.
Or burglarized.
Yeah.
You have a documented case, and you can provide that to your insurance company. They will watch it. They value that, and that is one of the best ways. It'll take you maybe an hour. Go room to room. You can say, hey, this is mom and dad's room. This is the kids' room. This is the family room. You can do it piecemeal, but that would be absolutely crucial.
Straight ahead, President-elect Donald Trump, former President Barack Obama on the campaign trails, arch enemies. But at President Jimmy Carter's funeral, what exactly was happening between the two of them?
He did look very friendly, I must say. I thought you guys hated me.
It's finally Friday with Dave and Dujanovic.
There in the distance, someone must have checked the WAM. Hold up, and abandoned plans for the good times. Where forgotten roads take lost lives. To beautiful kids on the coast.
The newest part of your morning, and still so familiar.
When you wake up and listen to a radio show, it's like you're a part of a family. You're listening in on people you know, and it's magnificent that Andy Farnsworth is sitting in the chair because he's someone we know.
Utah's Morning News. Andy Farnsworth joins Amanda Dixon to bring you important news in the car. 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
One of the things I love about Salt Lake City fat loss is the results, right? I mean, how often do you just dread getting on the scale, or do you just avoid the scale? The scale's been sitting in your bathroom for 2 years. You've never once got in it because you don't want to see what it says. Well, with Salt Lake City fat loss, I will tell you, I was excited to get on the scale every single morning because I wanted to see the results. And sure enough, I would see a pound, sometimes 2 pounds a day of fat loss on the Salt Lake City fat loss program. Overall, in 60 days, I lost 57 pounds in 60 days, and I felt absolutely amazing. It wasn't easy, but I will absolutely tell you it was worth it. It kept me motivated because I saw such great results with Salt Lake City fat loss. So make sure you reach out. You're going to get an extra $200 off during the new year. A new year, a new you, $200 off if you check out the program right now. Just go to slcfatloss.com.
If you're trying to decide which gutter protection to put on your home, don't just ask how they'll handle leaves. Ask how they'll handle ice. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and that's right, ice. See, plenty of gutter guards are good at keeping out leaves, but most are made with flimsy materials that can bend, buckle, and break under the weight of too much ice. Kind of a big problem in an icy state like Utah, right? At RGS Exteriors, our exclusive gutter protection systems are built Utah tough. They're made with premium strength materials that hold up to 1,200 pounds of ice per square foot. Simply put, they're not going to budge. Our gutter guards are also certified to handle hurricane-level winds and rain. Mother Nature can't damage them. Guaranteed. Utah Tough products. That's the RGS way. For a free estimate, call 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's rgsexteriors.com or 801-280-3110.
Hi, I'm Utah Tax Attorney Jordan Wilcox. In these trying times, when inflation is out of control and our paychecks give us less and less money to support our families, the last thing any of us can afford is for the IRS to garnish wages, levy bank accounts, or seize assets. It's important now more than ever to protect your financial security.
We have reduced our tax liability by over $42,000.
$66,300. Let us safeguard you. Visit endtaxworry.com. We have saved countless taxpayers like you millions of dollars, kept businesses in operation, and ensured that our clients receive the best possible outcome.
Nearly $65,000.
$12,000 is something that you can look at and say, okay, I can handle that.
I'm Jordan Wilcox, your Utah tax attorney. You work hard for your money. Let us work hard for you. Visit endtaxworry.com.
We're very grateful.
Our military faces a crisis. Recruitment down, morale weak. Our leaders more focused on going woke than killing terrorists and defending America. President Trump nominated Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense to change things. Hegseth isn't an insider or a swamp dweller. He's a decorated veteran of the United States Army who deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. And he's exactly who we need leading the Department of Defense. Hegseth will ban woke nonsense from our armed forces, strengthen our military, and make our soldiers proud to serve. Call your United States Senator at 202-224-3121. Tell them stand with Trump. Confirm Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense. Again, call your senator at 202-224-3121. Tell them to vote to confirm Pete Hegseth and make our military great again. Paid for by American Leadership PAC.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, Governor Spencer Cox has signed his first executive order of his second term. It allows state agencies to approve large infrastructure projects faster. The governor says he will spend his second term focusing on increasing the number of starter homes in the state and doubling the state's energy production. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The fires in the Los Angeles area have now forced President Biden and Vice President Harris to cancel overseas trips.
Vice President Harris canceled her trip to Singapore, Bahrain, and Germany to remain in the U.S. and support the federal response in California. Harris was scheduled to leave next Monday and return on Friday and make stops at U.S. military installations in all three of those countries. The vice president, a California native, joined the president for his briefing on the fires Thursday at the White House. She called the images out of Los Angeles apocalyptic and unprecedented. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
Calmer winds are predicted for Southern California by this evening as thousands of firefighters continue to fight the flames. ABC's Matt Gutman is in hard-hit Pacific Palisades.
Fire officials say that they're going to be here for weeks putting out hot spots. They're not sure when people will be able to go back to their homes. And the LAPD is telling me that they're going to start having to pick through debris because they believe there are still more fatalities here.
Another strong Santa Ana wind event is forecast next week. Officials are trying to prepare for the rest. Your money at this moment, we are back underneath 42,000 on the Dow. The Dow is off 678 points. That is 1 0.6% to 41,945. Coming up, we'll have cold temperatures today, but a storm moving in tonight. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Do you have any idea how hard your heating system has to work when your old windows let the cold air seep in? Your energy bill is going through the roof. But there's an answer, and it comes from Advanced Window Products. For 38 years, they've been building state-of-the-art insulated windows and frames, and every one of them is built right here in Utah. So let me explain why it's cost-effective to call them for new windows right now. First, you'll see a significant drop in your energy bills, winter and summer, and right now, call Advanced Windows and you'll get $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Triple-coated, argon-filled and sealed double-pane insulated glass that'll keep out the cold, and custom frames in any style, any color. Advanced Windows offers a 60-month, 0% interest payment plan, and they even offer a plan with no payment, no interest for 24 months. Plus, that $2,500 off right now. Call for a no-pressure consultation, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by My Style Checking from Mountain America Credit Union. And here is Heather Kelly.
Things are still moving along very nicely across most of the Wasatch Front. The earlier crash we had northbound I-15 at the I-80 East split in South Salt Lake, that has now been moved over to the far right lane and shoulder. But it's not causing any delays at the moment because we just don't have a whole lot of traffic this morning. You'll also have a good drive now coming out of Eagle Mountain in Utah County on SR 73 now that the crash is cleared, and I-15 coming out of Utah County over the point of the mountain is clear. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll get a little snow tonight, overnight into tomorrow morning. This afternoon, just cold with a high of 39 degrees. Right now, it is partly cloudy and 30 degrees downtown. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
It is the photo from President Jimmy Carter's funeral that everybody is talking about. Picture this. President-elect Donald Trump seated right next to former President Barack Obama. On the campaign trails, both these guys, arch enemies. But at Carter's funeral yesterday, sitting side by side, both of them were leaning in toward each other, kind of chuckling. Let me ask you this, Dave. When you saw this photo, did you think, yeah, this is the grudge-busting moment we needed in this country?
That is verbatim exactly what went through my mind. I thought, yes, holy smokes, there's so much animosity, vitriol, back and forth, meanness that happens during the races that I forget, oh yeah, these are humans, and maybe we can set aside our differences and move forward. In that picture, I may be reading way too much into it. I probably absolutely am reading way too much into this, but I was so encouraged to see, as much as I know President Obama absolutely despises President Trump's policies and vice versa, that they can come together in a moment where the nation is celebrating the life of a president who, quite frankly, was not a popular president. Jimmy Carter was not a popular president. Much more popular after he left the presidency. But they joined together in this moment. They sat next to each other, which I loved. I loved that they sat the presidents together. And they had some human interactions. It gave me faith in humanity again. How about you? Did you read anything into it? Am I overreading?
I think so.
The picture?
Yeah, I think so.
Cynic.
All I could think of is who told the bad dad joke? You know, what are you guys laughing about?
He did look very friendly, I must say. I thought you guys hated each other. I didn't realize it, how friendly it looked. I saw it on your wonderful network just a little while ago before I came in, and I said, boy, they look like two people that like each other, and we probably do. We have a little different philosophies, right? But we probably do. I don't know, we just got along, but I got along with just about everybody on that. We met backstage, as you know, before we went on, and I thought it was a beautiful service, but we all got along very well, which is good.
I thought it was magnanimous to say that. I think it's important for us to set aside some of these grudges. And finally, we have politicians that are modeling good behavior. For our children, we absolutely believe in modeling. Mom and dad treat each other with respect and love because we're trying to model good behavior for our children. Politicians have not modeled good behavior for decades. So when they do model good behavior, we should sink our teeth into it and love it and celebrate it.
For decades? Let's go back to October 2020.
But I did hope, for the sake of the country, that he might show some interest in taking the job seriously. But it hasn't happened. He hasn't shown any interest in doing the work or helping anybody but himself and his friends, or treating the presidency like a reality show that he can use to get attention.
Or let's jump forward to October of 2024.
And I think he's a real jerk because I've watched him campaign over the last couple of days. I watched him campaign. What a divider he is, right? What a divider he is. He'd divide this country. He couldn't care less. Him and his little group of people. He was terrible.
That was Trump speaking about Obama. Obama speaking about Trump. I mean, back and forth. And I think either they're disingenuous, and what President Trump was saying there or what President Obama was saying there, either they don't really believe it and they're just playing to the crowd, or maybe they've moved past it. And I hope, in my heart of hearts, I hope they've moved past some of that rhetoric, that they've finally buried the hatchet, that they can actually work together, even if they don't agree on the best way forward, but they can at least, at the very minimum, be civil to each other. And that's what I saw.
That's the political aspect, right, of this conversation, of these two former presidents and, of course, President-elect Donald Trump taking over again in just a couple of days, sitting side by side. All the presidents were seated together, and they're leaning in toward each other, and they're smiling. It looks like they're chuckling about something, and one of them's made the other one laugh, and it is kind of a nice moment. I don't know if it has me convinced that the grudges, been busted. So many of us have this in our personal lives. It's so hard to bust a grudge. We carry grudges with us for years. Let me give you an example. Mine's not my grudge I'm going to talk about isn't against anybody personally, but it is against a major corporation. It's a store. I don't think it's any longer in business. If it is, there's one store in this country. It used to be many, many, many stores across this nation. But I felt so wronged by an interaction I had with them many years ago when a battery that we purchased for our ATV like drained right out. It was like right after purchase. And we tried to take it back.
It's a lemon.
Yeah. And they rejected it. I remember sitting in the car. I'm like, I'm so bugged right now that first of all, our family is like, we're in the backwoods, back country. And this thing is like, boom, 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 boom. Battery's dead. What do you mean battery's dead? We just bought this thing. So we got to figure out a way to get this thing home and, we go in to return it or at least get some credit for it. And they're like, no. Do you know what happened when I found out that they were like going out of business and potentially declaring bankruptcy? I celebrated. That is how deep, and it had been years, that is how deep my grudge ran. And I know it is not healthy because every time I drove past one of those stores, I'd be like, I cannot stand you. But some people do it with people in their lives. Like, I don't know why it is I can kind of let go of the grudges against people. Like when I get burned by somebody I thought was a friend. I'm like, nah, well, it wasn't meant to be. We weren't meant to be friends. But if it's a corporation, I'm never shopping there again, and I'm telling all my friends and family not to shop there again.
I chuckle at class reunions. You can go to a class reunion, and you will still see the same old cliques kind of hanging out together. There's no crossover. Can I share a story as well?
Have you had a grudge?
Okay, so in 10th grade, I made the basketball team, and can I say his name? I'm going to say his name because we're friends now. Tom Toronto. He and I played the same position in basketball, and Tom was playing ahead of me. So he was getting more minutes on the court. I'm a bench warmer. Tom is playing in front of me. And I have like this blood feud with Tom Toronto because he plays in front of me. And all through I'm like, Tom's the worst. I hate Tom. It was this real rivalry until I find out later on in life, Tom is the sweetest human being alive. Like, he's a great person. And my feud over playing time and a decision he's not even making, it's on a coach. I am holding this grudge against him, and I'm missing out on a phenomenal person. And I just realized how worthless grudges are.
So when did the grudge start on your end?
Yeah, it really was jealousy. It was, I'm 15 years old.
15 years old. Okay, so you're jealous because he's getting more playing time.
Yeah, playing time. Yep.
Okay. And it starts when you're 15. How many years did you carry that grudge with you?
We were graduated. And it was after we were graduated. It may have even been after a mission. Like, I'm probably in my early 20s. And we ran into each other at church, and he came up, and he's like, hey, buddy, how you doing? And we talked. I'm like, oh. And then we've talked, several times over, and this is a phenomenal human being, and I am the pettiest human alive.
Straight ahead, let's take live calls. What's the longest grudge you've held, and what was it all about? 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. And if your name is Tom Toronto, you go to the front of the line. Your live calls next.
It's Friday. With Dave and Dujanovic.
At Intermountain Children's Health, we've created a bold plan called Primary Promise to build the nation's model health system for children. Help us achieve this once-in-a-generation vision so together we can bring the world-class care of Primary Children's Hospital closer to home for every child in our communities. For more than a century, Primary Children's has kept the child first and always. Join us for the next 100 years. To learn more, visit primarypromise.org.
Transform your home into a peaceful retreat with a beautiful Bullfrog Spa from our New Year's sale. To make room for our newest hot tubs, we're offering you incredible savings from January 9th through 20th. You'll find discounts up to 40% off on clearance floor models, or save big on the new 2025 spas. Visit your nearby Bullfrog Spas factory store today to find the perfect spa for you and your home. The New Year's sale ends soon, so don't miss out.
Bullfrog Spas. Peaceful body, peaceful mind, peaceful home.
This is Derek Overstreet of the New Millennium Group and host of Stop Working and Start Living Radio. If you're close to or in retirement and you don't have a tax plan, call us right now, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. Listen, our country's been spending like never before, and the tax bill is coming soon. If you need an income tax strategy and a financial plan that will get you through the rest of your life, give my team a call, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. If you want an investment plan that allows you to keep more of your gains and pay less taxes, give us a call, 888-999-6370. My team specializes in the type of plan that will get you retired 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible. So, get a no-cost tax analysis by calling 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. My team is standing by now.
Dave and Dujanovic.
What is the longest you've ever held a grudge, and what was it all about? 801-575-TALK. We're taking your live calls. The reason we're talking about this in the first place is because there's a photo of former President Barack Obama and President-elect Donald Trump sitting side by side at President Jimmy Carter's funeral yesterday. Both presidents leaning in, Obama and Trump, like super close, chuckling. And it felt like maybe this is a grudge-busting moment that we need.
He did look very friendly, I must say.
I thought you guys hated each other.
I didn't realize it, how friendly it looked. I saw it on your wonderful network.
I liked the little olive branch there. The moment where you could hear the reporter say, I thought you guys hated each other. And he just moved right on past it. And he said, yeah, it was a nice moment. And at the end of that explanation, he said something profound. He said,
we met backstage, as you know, before we went on. And I thought it was a beautiful service, but we all got along very well, which is good.
He said, I think we do get along. I think that we probably do like each other, that we maybe have a different way of going about it, but we probably do like each other. And I think, boy, that is a refreshing message. I would have liked to have heard it during the campaign. I would like to hear this more often. One of my favorite things was I remember hearing from the classic debate between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon. And I'll never forget what John F. Kennedy said. In the debate, he said, I think that Richard Nixon is a very effective and good leader of his party. And I think he would say the same thing about me. We just have different ways of going about it, but we're both for Americans. That is a message that is lost in today's politics.
Well, they've sure been beating each other up on the campaign trail over the years.
A lot of people do not think it was an authentic certificate.
How can you say that if this...
You won't report it, Wolf, but many people do not think it was authentic.
That's Trump talking about Obama and whether he had legal status to even run for president. Here's Obama talking about Trump.
But I did hope, for the sake of the country, that he might show some interest in taking the job seriously. But it hasn't happened. He hasn't shown any interest in doing the work or helping anybody but himself and his friends, or treating the presidency like a reality show that he can use to get attention.
So how do we get past grudges? I think this is really good modeling behavior. I like looking at this and saying, oh, you know what? Maybe they do get along, or maybe it's not as cats and dogs as we think. How do we cross that barrier, and how do we maybe swallow some of our pride and our animosity towards someone else?
Have you been able to do that? 801-575-TALK. We're taking live phone calls. How did you get past your teenage grudge that you had against the basketball player who, obviously from your description, Dave, and please don't be upset at me for saying this, was probably better on the court, and that's why he was getting all the playing time.
You don't see it when you're 15, though. You don't see that someone's better than you are. Yeah, for sure.
How'd you get past it, though? Because you said you would bump into him after you graduated from college or high school, and you found out he's a really great guy.
Well, he came up to me, and I knew him. I recognized him, and at church, and I didn't go up to him and say hi. He came up to me, and he just started talking to me, just like we were old friends. And I had this epiphany of, he doesn't realize that we have a blood feud, that we are arch enemies. No, he just came up and started talking to me, and we had a great conversation. Then we've spoken several times over the years since. We'll run into each other at the grocery store, and I realized, and I realized it very quickly, like, this is a phenomenal human being. This is a great person. This would have been a great friend for me over the years had I not had this weird, petty, build up in my mind rivalry over playing time in 10th grade basketball.
And now you get along.
But I'm so grateful that he reached out to me, that he came up and he talked to me, because it was a great lesson for me. And I think it really changed my outlook and made me realize how petty grudges are.
You know what I think grudges do as well is they keep us fixated on something that's super unhealthy.
For sure. Yeah. It didn't make me a better person to harbor.
But you tend to let things go a lot easier than I do. We know that. That's just, we've been working together for like 8 years. We know that I'll kind of ruminate on issues where you're just like, what are you talking about? I don't even remember that. Literally, that happened this morning. I walked in and I started talking about something that happened yesterday. And I don't even remember. And I've been thinking about it all day on my way, all morning, all night last night. I was like, I have to talk to Dave about that when I get in. He's like, I don't even remind me what happened. So I think it's unhealthy that we hold these grudges. The Mayo Clinic actually put out a blog, and they're like, how do you get past your grudges? And they're like, recognize the value of forgiveness and how it can improve your life. They even said, join a support group, see a counselor. I've talked to my therapist about grudges, like just in general, like if they start to spin up, how do I get past them? I don't have a big problem, though, with grudges against human beings. I have a big problem with grudges against corporations who've burned me. And I can think of 3, the one I just talked about, and there's been a couple of others along the way. I will never return. It's not even a little grudge. It is. I once held a grudge against a gas station. I told this story before, probably. And we pulled out of Lake Powell, and we didn't realize we were out of gas. And you're driving this lonely stretch where there's like mirages everywhere. There's nowhere to get. And then we come upon a gas station. We were like below empty, to the point where I was flipping through the owner's manual to see how much we might have left or how far we might have to walk if we run out of gas. This is before, you had automated, your car told you how much you had left in the tank. And the first gas station we came upon was the gas station I had a grudge on. And I told my husband, I'm like, keep driving.
We will die of thirst in the desert
unhealthy.
before.
Well, that's the thing. It was July.
Yeah.
We had a child with us.
120
No,
degrees
that's how
outside.
deep my grudge went against that corporation.
One of our texters said, bully I had in elementary school called me 10 years later and apologized for bullying me. And
I love that.
I think that made a huge impact on the person who received the apology, but I think it's cathartic for the person that is apologizing. It oftentimes just takes one person to reach out and say, hey, how's it going? And you're like, oh, what a wasted amount of energy, me hating you.
They said that you get less anxiety, less stress, fewer symptoms of depression. And the other, and for, letting go of that grudge or forgiving somebody lowers your blood pressure.
I buy it.
Yeah.
I totally buy it.
Straight ahead, we're going to go in depth, 30-minute special half hour with the U.S. Surgeon General wanting to have a new warning label about the risks of cancer. That warning label would go on bottles of alcohol, cans of beer. Next, we're going to speak to Huntsman Cancer Institute about what types of cancers could be fueled by spirits, beers, and wines.
There's a causal link between alcohol consumption and cancer risk.
Special half hour, straight ahead.
Once upon a time, two children stumbled upon a magical house made entirely of candy, but all was not as sweet as it seemed. Join us at Capitol Theater this January and journey into the enchanted world of Utah Opera's Hansel and Gretel, where gingerbread dreams meet high-stakes adventures. The stage will sparkle, the music will soar, and you'll relive the fairy tale you grew up with a twist. Tickets start at $21 and under 30 save 50%. Get yours at utahopera.org.
Boy, right after the holidays, everyone needs a little cash, right?
Oh, yes.
We have great news for you. Right now, UCCU, Utah Community Credit Union, will pay you for your auto loan and credit balances. So all you have to do is just transfer your auto loan or your credit card balance to UCCU. And on top of giving you a low interest rate, which will save you money, UCCU will give you 1% cash back up to $250 on every loan you transfer.
Amanda, as soon as I heard about this, I said, I'm in this exact situation. I transferred. I actually had to have 2 loans to get my car a year ago.
Yeah.
Long story. Got it consolidated into one, and they paid me 1% back for each thing. I've got 1 payment now instead of 2. It's so much easier, and it took me maybe basically an hour. I just went straight to the website. I applied. They said, you got to send me these documents. I did, and all of a sudden, within a couple of days, I had it all set.
This is how easy they are to work with, always looking for ways to help you and your family. You can find out more on the UCCU mobile banking app or just go to uccu.com/transfer. Utah Community Credit Union. You're going to love where you bank.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Febreze. So my home is also my office, and before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
If you're struggling with missing or broken teeth or painful dentures, you're not alone. Countless people face these challenges, but you don't have to suffer any longer. It's time to rediscover the confidence of a full, healthy smile with Stubbs Dental Implant Center, Utah's best of state winner. At Stubbs Dental, they understand how your missing teeth can hold you back in your career, social life, even in love. But it doesn't have to be that way. Their team of experts transforms lives with dental implants one smile at a time. Imagine what a new smile could do for you. Thousands have turned to Stubbs Dental for dental implants, gaining more than just teeth. They've regained their self-confidence. And the best part? Finding out if you're eligible for dental implants is easy. Visit StubbsDental.com, and in just 60 seconds, you could be on your way to a life-changing smile. Don't wait any longer to take the first step towards the life you deserve. Visit StubbsDental.com, StubbsDental.com today.
I don't feel so good.
You do feel hot. Dayquil Kids will take care of that fever.
What about my cough?
Dayquil Kids has that covered.
Will it make my throat feel better?
Yes, that too.
But will it taste good?
Yep, Dayquil Kids comes in your favorite flavor.
Purple?
Well, yes, it's grape.
Try new Dayquil Kids Plus Fever, the daytime coughing, aching, sore throat fever just for kids medicine. Safe for kids 6+. Use as directed.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story: police in Utah County recovered more than 70 firearms stolen from a Linden business.
Police say just before the end of last year, Edgar Cortez Mesa broke into Premier Firearms and stole the guns, some garbage cans, and rubber boots. Investigators say he also left a backpack at the scene. Inside that backpack, they found documents with his name, address, and signature. Officers located Cortez Mesa at his home in American Fork, and he reportedly admitted to having 6 of the stolen guns. Then, while searching the home, an SUV drove up, pulling a trailer. After getting a warrant for that trailer, investigators say they found garbage cans containing 60 of the guns. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News: President-elect Trump received an unconditional discharge as a sentence in the New York hush money case. The sentence comes without any time behind bars, and there is no probation. Essentially, it just signifies he was convicted. Mr. Trump spoke before the sentence was handed down.
It's been a political witch hunt. It was done to damage my reputation.
The president-elect's attorneys say they will appeal and try and have the conviction overturned. Vice President-elect J.D. Vance is no longer a U.S. Senator. He submitted his resignation letter to Ohio's governor yesterday as he prepares to be sworn into office on the 20th. Your money at this moment: the Dow is having a very rough day. It's down 711 points right now. That is 1 7/10%. We're at 41,920. Coming up, we could see some snow tonight. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage? You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Mobil 1 can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for only $38.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Join the KSL Real Estate Show at 10 before BYU basketball. Heather Osmond and her guests talk about a new community development in Eagle Mountain. That's this Saturday at 10.
Is the movie show, guys. Andy Farnsworth and Steve Sales. We are at Minky Couture in Layton right now. Look, we didn't get the snow that we thought we'd have, but it's still plenty cold outside.
It's 20 degrees outside.
Yeah, I was going to say. So despite the fact that there's sun, it's still freezing. And what is the best antidote for freezing, Steve?
Warmth.
Warmth. And what is the best thing to get warmth, Lisa from Minky Couture?
A hug, right? Come on in and get a Minky Hugs. It is the season of love, right? We're fast approaching Valentine's Day, and there's nothing better to give than a Minky Couture Hugs blanket.
So, you'll get a hug, not necessarily a literal hug from an employee at Minky Couture, although you would love that. But they're actually talking about the hug that just keeps hugging you all day long and all night long, and that you can, put down. And, it'd be really weird if, the Minky person was like hugging you everywhere. But, wow, I love my hug. I cannot sleep without it. I hated that I had to wash it, but I did.
Yeah, I know you're such a fan of them, so I love it. And I love that, this is the season that it, it's just so appropriate and so fun to give for Valentine's Day to your significant other or your children, right? It just makes such a great Valentine's gift.
Well, and, people get excited when the movie show comes to Minky Couture. And that's because you guys are so generous to our listeners when we come here?
That's because you have such awesome listeners, right? They're so supportive of Minky Couture, and our owner, Sandy Hendry, just appreciates that so much. And so she wants to pass on an amazing deal and offer to all of them today with 55% off any full-priced blankets.
Yes. Now, trust me, if you or your significant other does not have a Minky, first of all, this is the time to get it with this sale for 55% off. But this is the chance for you to give them the gift that will win Valentine's Day.
Oh, yes. Flowers, chocolates, right? Flowers die, chocolate's gone. You know, everyone's in a New Year's resolution. They're trying to avoid the sweets and all that kind of stuff anyway. So give them what they really want, and that's a gift of cozy warmth and comfort with a Minky Couture blanket.
Perfect. Movie 55 is the code. Come and see us here at the Leighton store at any of the Minky locations, or this Movie 55 discount is good online at minkycouture.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by My Style Checking from Mountain America Credit Union. And here's Heather Kelly.
We've got a multi-vehicle crash southbound I-15 in Farmington. It's right underneath the Glover Lane overpass. Looks like everybody has moved themselves over to the right lane and shoulder, but traffic is a little bit slow in that area as all these vehicles had been in the main flow of travel. And then we did have a crash northbound I-15 near 45th South in Murray. All the vehicles were over on the left shoulder. Most of them have pulled away. There's just one left on that shoulder, but it's not causing slowing. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mostly sunny during the day, but we do have a storm moving in tonight. The KSL Weather Center says some of the northern valleys should get anywhere from a trace to a couple of inches of snow, with more significant totals in the mountains. Right now, partly cloudy and 30 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
We're going to take a special half hour here and talk about what the U.S. Surgeon General has called for, and that is warning labels on alcohol. And let me just read this, Dave. I think the Associated Press did a really good job right off the top of its article that recently published about this warning label cry from the U.S. Surgeon General. Alcohol is the leading cause of cancer, a risk that should be clearly labeled on drinks Americans consume. That's what the U.S. Surgeon General proposed and has proposed.
That is a pretty shocking statement right there. Alcohol is a leading cause of cancer. Like that is pretty incredible. I sometimes roll my eyes when it comes to warning labels because it feels like we throw warning labels on everything. Like, hey, this Big Mac has a lot of calories. Warning label. Hey,
I wanted to get more information on this, like what types of cancers are fueled by alcohol in particular. And in a moment, we're going to speak live with a doctor from the Huntsman Cancer Institute to get into the specifics. I want to play for you what I heard Dr. Murthy say when he was speaking to PBS NewsHour about his concerns.
There's a causal link between alcohol consumption and cancer risk. And, we put out this advisory calling not only for more public education, but for a change to the alcohol warning label. There's a Surgeon General's warning on alcohol bottles, which currently warns people about drinking while they're pregnant and about driving or operating heavy machinery after having, alcohol. And those two things have actually soaked into, the general understanding of what we shouldn't do with alcohol. People should know about the cancer risk as well. But finally, I've also called for a reassessment of the guideline limits around alcohol. Currently, people are told in the guidelines that they can drink 1 drink a day if they're a woman, 2 drinks a day if you're a man. But what we have found is that even within those limits, the risk of cancer starts to increase. So those need to be reassessed and revised to reflect this important and concerning risk.
And I think it's an important conversation to have because for a number of years, we had what was called the French paradox, where it was believed that a glass of red wine had health benefits. And it wasn't until fairly recently that the research has come back and they said, you cannot say that any amount of alcohol has health benefits. So to hear this change and being a little bit more forthright, I think, and saying, listen, there's lots of things we do in our life that is bad for our health. That cheeseburger I was talking about, that's bad for my health as well. But we just want to have all the information. I think it's an important statement. Alcohol is a leading cause of cancer. That is something that I did not realize.
Well, he addressed what you just said about the French paradox.
That many people were led to believe over the years, including me when I was in medical training years ago, that alcohol is unequivocally good for your heart. And we now know that story is actually a lot more complicated, that while there may be some benefits to some types of heart disease with moderate drinking, and that's still being investigated and adjudicated and debated, we know that there are other types of heart disease, like heart failure, for example, like atrial fibrillation, which is an abnormal heart rhythm, and even high blood pressure itself, where the risk increases with drinking. What we do know for certain, though, or at least with a high degree of confidence, is this link between alcohol and cancer risk.
The link between alcohol and cancer risk, something that the World Health Organization issued information about in 1988. I think a lot of people didn't know about that, maybe haven't paid attention to it. But according to the Associated Press, alcohol consumption, or Murthy argues that alcohol consumption is to blame for nearly 1 million preventable cancers in the U.S. over the last decade. About 20,000 people die every year from alcohol-related cancer cases, according to what Murthy is trying to push out. 1 million preventable cancer cases in the United States.
It's so funny because, I'm sorry, Debbie, to interrupt you there. I just, when we talk about cigarettes, the first thing I think is lung cancer. The first thing I think about when it comes to alcohol is DUI, right? I do not go to cancer. That is not where my mind naturally goes.
Dr. Katie Kerrigan is with the Huntsman Cancer Institute. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about that. When you talk about, cigarette smoking, you think of lung cancer. When we think about consuming alcohol, I guess we don't really know what kinds of cancers it might fuel. Do you have a list of cancers that alcohol loves to fuel the most? That you could share with us?
Yes, definitely. So excess alcohol consumption is known to increase the risk for at least 6 types of cancer. Those of the head and neck, the esophagus, the stomach, the breast, the liver, and the colorectal region. So a lot of gastrointestinal and head and neck cancers, with the surprising, maybe surprising to the general public, risk of increase of breast cancer as well.
What is it in alcohol that maybe triggers this cancer? Is it the potency of it? Do we know what is causing it? How the body reacts that causes that cancer?
Yes, there are 4 known major mechanisms for the way that alcohol causes cancer. The first of which is when alcohol is broken down and metabolized in the body, it basically becomes a toxin, and that toxin damages DNA. And DNA is our basic genetic material, and when it becomes damaged repetitively, it can cause cancer. So that's the first way. The second way is that alcohol really increases oxidative stress, so just excess stress and inflammation at the level of the cell. And over time, as the cell's continually damaged, it can become cancerous. For breast cancer risk specifically, we know that alcohol can actually alter hormone levels, and it can make estrogen levels rise. And many breast cancers are driven by estrogen, so that's the link between alcohol and breast cancer. And then I'm actually a head and neck medical oncologist, so I see many alcohol-related cancers every single day. But the way in which head and neck cancer is caused by alcohol is that it actually increases the rate by which somebody absorbs carcinogens in tobacco. So alcohol and tobacco together really become a super toxin for the head and neck as well as the esophagus. And that is the way by which head and neck and esophagus cancers are caused by alcohol.
The esophagus, it makes me wonder if the alcohol is like stripping or burning somehow, especially maybe harder alcohols like spirits, tequila, and vodka. But I don't know anything about this. That would just be my guess. What can you tell us that is more in the science and doctor realm than just I'm guessing?
Yeah, definitely. So I think you can definitely think of that as true with the stomach. So the stomach is kind of a retention device whereby, food and liquid is stored for a bit before it passes into the intestine. So those toxins that exist in alcohol then sit in the stomach, and they come from the mouth through the esophagus into the stomach. So you can imagine in the transit process and in the sitting process prior to digestion, that's when they're absorbed. So that time kind of in transit is why the gastrointestinal system is particularly affected by alcohol. And then the liver is caused, the cancer of the liver caused by alcohol is basically because the liver is our source of alcohol metabolism. It metabolizes many of the waste products in our body, but that is the way by which the liver gets impacted.
We're speaking with Dr. Katie Kerrigan from the Huntsman Cancer Institute. I would assume this is not like brand new information, but I think talking about it is maybe something that is more recent. But how long have you known this, and have we been connecting cancer and alcohol so closely?
I mean, it's been around for decades. When you go through your first year of medical school, we're taught about it very early on, and I did that in 2010. So, we've known about it for a while. I just think large-scale educational campaigns have been lacking. And I think the biggest kind of takeaway from the Surgeon General, or I think thing they want to highlight, is we know that there's a relatively alarming trend of rise of gastrointestinal cancers in young people. So millennials like myself are getting cancers of the stomach, colon, and rectum at much higher rates than our previous generations. And some thought is that that's due to modifiable risk factors, alcohol being one of them. So I think the campaign is highlighting that alcohol, in addition to other bad things like tobacco, being sedentary, all increase risk.
Doctor, is it one particular kind of alcohol, wine, beers, spirits, that could tend to drive the risk for cancer higher than another?
Not alcohol type per se, more quantity. So,
okay.
I think the following statement holds true. Drinking less is better for your health than drinking more. And it's more heavy drinking or binge drinking that contributes to cancer risk rather than type of alcohol.
Doctor, sometimes I don't want to demonize, because there's a lot of things in our life that we consume. I know I eat a cheeseburger occasionally. I know that's not good for me as well. So maybe can you put into context how seriously and how much we should modify our lives, or is this just another best practices piece of advice?
Yeah, I think it's everything in moderation, right? You should be exercising. You should be, eating a relatively healthy diet. You should be drinking in moderation and definitely not smoking. I think the key takeaway is you should not binge drink, which they define as more than 3 drinks in a day in women and more than 4 drinks a day in men. And then again, all things in moderation. So just nothing excessive. I think people can enjoy a glass of wine or whatever occasionally, but daily is probably not advised, both for other things that alcohol causes, but also cancer risk.
No, thank you. I guess what I was most surprised about, and you touched on as well, is the increased risk for breast cancer. Because so often when you think of alcohol, you think about liver cancers or cirrhosis of the liver. I've had the unfortunate experience of having a family member pass away many years ago who had problems with drinking, and he had liver troubles, and it was really, really difficult to watch. So that I was very well aware of. But as a female who, I'm very, very particular about getting my mammograms on time and making sure that, I'm staying as healthy as possible, I was not aware of the link with breast cancer. So that is very informative, I think, for the female listeners of our audience, Doctor.
Definitely. There's many risk factors for breast cancer, alcohol being one of them. We've known for a while, and that we've done a great job against big tobacco, that, tobacco causes lung cancer, but actually many other cancers. But when they actually surveyed young women, college-age women, only 1/3 of them knew that alcohol increased their risk of breast cancer. So I think it's just important to keep in mind, again, all things in moderation. But if you can help yourself not get cancer, why wouldn't you?
Dr. Kerrigan, thank you so much for joining us from the Huntsman Cancer Institute.
Dave, I want to go over a list of what a couple of other countries have done. They've been far more aggressive at labeling alcohol than the United States has been. And remember, this is just a proposal. the U.S. Surgeon General, he's recommending, he would like to see alcohol clearly labeled, that there's an increased risk for cancer. And when we talked to Dr. Kerrigan, she cited the different types of cancers, head and neck cancers, breast cancer. That one was a shocker to me. Liver, stomach. You've got increased rates of, it appears, of younger people of colon cancer, and that's a concern as well. So clearly labeling it that you increase your risk for cancer when you consume alcohol. South Korea began labeling alcohol in 2016, mandated the group labels for alcohol, some of which include warning labels about liver cancer. So South Korea has mandated it since 2016. Ireland, in 2026, labels will read, there is a direct link between alcohol and fatal cancers, and drinking alcohol causes liver disease. So they're going to label it that it causes liver disease and that it increases. There's a direct link between alcohol and fatal cancers. Just label it. Just put it out there. Let people know, because think about the insidiousness of cancer, and if you know that it's very clearly labeled that this could link to cancer potentially. I mean, there's a lot of factors, right? So she said sedentary lifestyle, maybe your diet, family history of cancers, age could be one. But just let us know, and then we can make that choice about our people can make that choice. But we don't label, as you said, cheeseburgers, and we don't label the gym as, come here. This will improve your health and lower your risk for potentially these 7 cancers. So, do we need a label, or do we just need the information?
It's a great question, because initially I kind of chuckled, like all the labels that are on stuff, and this may contain peanuts, or this was made in a facility that were tree nuts. Like there's a million different labels. You can be absolutely tuned out to all the labels and little disclaimers that are on there. But this is where I think it would make a difference. I kind of chuckle about the Big Mac combo meal, 1,110 calories that is on the menu. And you may dismiss that all the time. But then if you all of a sudden are on a diet and you want to start counting calories, then that is valuable information that is right there for you. So you may not need it right now, but maybe later on in your life, if you're in a different spot, it will resonate. So I'm not saying that this would be a be-all, end-all, but I think if you're ready and if it crosses you and you say, oh, wow, I didn't realize. Perhaps say I already have breast cancer in my family, that there's an increased risk, then maybe that label resonates with you, that you can't be taking those additional chances because you're already at risk. So there's a few items in the world here that we probably ought to put a big old warning label on. Alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, those seem to me very reasonable. Maybe we don't need to put hot coffee at McDonald's, right? That should be assumed.
But I've seen labels like that on coffee cups.
And those are ridiculous. Of course your coffee is hot, right? But I think for cigarettes, for alcohol, for drugs, those labels are beneficial.
The American Lung Association says since health warning labels first appeared in the United States, which is in the 60s, on cigarettes, tobacco use dropped 73%. So that's huge.
I did kind of chuckle when we were talking to Dr. Kerrigan. She's like, everything in moderation. You can moderate this, but no smoking. there was no smoking in moderation. She's like, and no smoking. There are certain things that we just know are bad for us. And to your point, to the labeling of cigarettes, it is definitely impacted.
Yeah, it's effective. And I have heard of people doing like what they call dry January. I never heard of that until recently, last couple of years, where people who they get together as friends and they support each other through, taking like January off of consuming alcohol or, taking a month off of consuming alcohol. So it does seem to be sort of picking up some steam that we ought to be more aware of the effects of alcohol on our health. And especially, when you're a health conscious person or you have a high risk of cancer, you're nervous about those kinds of things. It's just, I think, good information that we, pass along to our listeners. So thanks so much for Dr. Kerrigan and the Huntsman Cancer Institute for joining us. Was there yesterday for my mammogram. So, take that kind of stuff very seriously. And I appreciate that, we have places in this valley that, make sure that we stay safe and we stay healthy and we know all we can about a risk of cancer. So thank you so much, Doctor. Straight ahead, the Utah Hockey Club tickets are on sale for $10. $10 a ticket? But wait, I got to tell you, that's not even the best part of this discount deal. I'll tell you what it is next.
It's Friday with Dave and Dujanovic. The best parts of KSL News Radio are so easy to use in the car. Catch the biggest stories affecting Utah's communities throughout the morning. If you miss a newscast, the next one is just a few minutes away. Plus, we have traffic updates every 10 minutes on the 9s like clockwork. We try to make it easy for your commute, mornings and afternoons. Rely on KSL News Radio.
Do you have any idea how hard your heating system has to work when your old windows let the cold air seep in? Your energy bill is going through the roof. But there's an answer, and it comes from Advanced Window Products. For 38 years, they've been building state-of-the-art insulated windows and frames, and every one of them is built right here in Utah. So let me explain why it's cost-effective to call them for new windows right now. First, you'll see a significant drop in your energy bills, winter and summer, and right now, call Advanced Windows and you'll get $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Triple-coated, argon-filled and sealed double-pane insulated glass that'll keep out the cold, and custom frames in any style, any color. Advanced Windows offers a 60-month, 0% interest payment plan, and they even offer a plan with no payment, no interest for 24 months. Plus, that $2,500 off right now. Call for a no-pressure consultation, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
It's the movie show, guys. Andy Farnsworth and Steve Sales. We are live at Minky Couture in Layton. Minky Couture.
Don't say it.
Where are you from? Where are you from?
I try to keep my accent a secret.
Oh, yeah, he'll French.
But we're coming up on Valentine's Day, and it is the perfect time to get the perfect gift. And honestly, even if you already have a Minky, with the discount that you're giving us today, Lisa, this is your chance to get the biggest Minky that you've ever wanted.
Yes, our grande size. It's a 5 by 7. So it's a huge
We're not
blanket.
talking a little photograph. This isn't 5 by 7 inches, folks.
5 feet by 7 feet. Let us clarify. Thank you. Yes, 5 feet by 7 feet. So that's our largest grande size. But we really have a blanket for every person in your family, right? For any person. There's a blanket for every size, for every person. Because a blanket is for everyone. It's kind of universal, right? You think, oh, a blanket's for, a baby or a kid. But I promise your wife, your husband, they want that Minky blanket.
Isn't that how Sandy started this whole thing, with like baby blankets or small?
She started it with actually for her.
Oh, it was her daughter.
Her daughter, yes. Her daughter was in the hospital, and she asked her mom, "I just need a cozy blanket," and so that's how it started. Was just with one gift, a mother trying to comfort her daughter, and here we are today, almost 16 years later.
Wow!
I promise you, if you get a Minky, you will not regret it, and if you give a Minky, they will love you, and it will be their best gift that they get for whatever that is, and maybe the best gift they ever got.
Yes, every time they wrap up in it, they're going to think of you. They're going to remember. It's just an amazing gift.
So come into one of the Minky locations all up and down the Wasatch Front, and what's your farthest south store right now?
Well, St. George, technically,
okay.
But we have, as far as Utah County, we've got a store in Orem.
Okay, but come to one of the locations, or if you're not able to get there, Movie 55 is the code. When you check out at Minky Couture, first of all, pick the big blanket. Pick the one you really want, the one you've always wanted. Get it today. Take advantage of the movie show discount. Or if you can't make it into the store, go online and you can use Movie 55 when you check out.
Yep.
But you come in, you get to take it home with you today. That's the best part.
I know. I'm an instant gratification person. Come in store.
So minkycouture.com, or come see us at the Layton store or any of their locations.
At Intermountain Children's Health, we've created a bold plan called Primary Promise to build the nation's model health system for children. Help us achieve this once-in-a-generation vision so together we can bring the world-class care of Primary Children's Hospital closer to home for every child in our communities. For more than a century, Primary Children's has kept the child first and always. Join us for the next 100 years. To learn more, visit primarypromise.org.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour. Taylorsville police are right now trying to find a man who they say stabbed two other men during a mugging last night near 4200 South and 2600 West. Police say the two victims had pulled over because of a car issue, and then the suspect approached them demanding money. Police say the suspect then stabbed the two when they did not hand over enough cash. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Biden administration says it will expand sanctions against Russia over the ongoing war in Ukraine. The sanctions target Moscow's oil and liquefied natural gas sectors that drive the country's economy. British officials are also announcing similar sanctions. The delegation for France's next Winter Olympics are visiting Utah.
The French Alps are set to host the 2030 Winter Olympics before Salt Lake City does in 2034. Fabrice Panicoke is the president of a region in the Alps. He told reporters they want to see the state's venues firsthand. The French Alps and Salt Lake City presented their candidacies for the games together, and the president said he heard a lot about Salt Lake, so he's happy to be here. Before the delegation leaves this weekend, they'll visit Utah Olympic Park, Deer Valley Resort, and the Delta Center, among some other venues. Panicoke says he hopes they can work together to better promote the games. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Your money at this moment, the markets are struggling today. The Dow is down 682 points. That is 1 0.6%. We're at 41,952. Coming up, we have a small storm moving in tonight, but today will be relatively clear. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:32. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
There she is, founder and CEO. High five.
Dave can't stop celebrating with every business owner in town.
All right, Baker Man, high five.
He's sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Up top, bike shop.
Yeah. It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
Quick, high five.
5 years of advanced security.
5 years.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Yeah, law partners. Chamberlain, Messethorpe, Dubois.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Switch today and get the 5-year price lock guarantee.
5 years.
It's back, but only for a limited time.
Woo!
Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
Can't forget you, voiceover guy.
Ah, thanks, Dave.
High five.
Ends 3/9/25. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
When Jen Drummond isn't climbing mountains and breaking records, she likes taking things easy.
That's why I appreciate My Style checking from Mountain America.
Make it look easy.
My Style makes life a breeze. And the mountain of extra benefits is incredible. Shopping and entertainment discounts, mobile phone protection. My Style checking has it all.
Make it look, make it look, make it look easy.
Gear up for your next journey with My Style checking. Only at Mountain America.
Membership required based on eligibility. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by My Style Checking from Mountain America Credit Union. And here's Heather Kelly.
We still have several vehicles over on the side of the road. This is southbound I-15 in Farmington after you pass the US 89 on-ramps right near Glover Lane. Again, they're over on the right, not causing too many delays at this point, just a few brake lights from time to time. You have good speeds northbound I-15 from Utah County into downtown Salt Lake, and the east and west side belt routes are traveling well. Teens can get up to $200 with a Teen Learn and Earn account, plus continue earning rewards as they master the essentials of finance. More at cypresscu.com/teen. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Sunny and 39 today, but a small storm moves in tonight. Some of the valleys could see a trace to a couple of inches of snow through tomorrow morning. Right now, partly cloudy and 32 downtown. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
$10 tickets to go see an NHL game?
One wide open, shot by Gunther. Here's a chance, Keller, and he scores! Clayton Keller scores!
I was so excited when I saw that Utah Hockey Club put out this announcement that they're going to have $10 tickets available. Now, there's a little bit of a hook here that you got to know about. But what did you think about that when I alerted to this? Told you about this yesterday, Dave, right after the show when I saw it drop into our email. $10 tickets.
Sign me up.
Really?
Absolutely sign me up. In fact, my family has wanted to go. I've gone to one game so far, and it's a little pricey. Just any event, anywhere you go, whether it's a Jazz game, hockey, concert, play, it's a little pricey. And out of the holidays, I've just been waiting a little bit. So right now, I'm looking at $10. That's cheaper than a movie right now. I'm like, sign me up.
So if you went tonight by yourself,
San Jose Sharks,
and you went on the ticket app to purchase a ticket, and in a moment, I'm going to tell you how to get the $10 tickets. And by the way, the $10 isn't even the best part of this deal, in my view. I'm going to tell you what I think the best part of this deal is as well. How much would you pay for just a single ticket if you went on your ticket app?
$40-$50 for the bad seats.
Wow.
40 or 50 per seat.
This is a heck of a response from last game.
Do you think that this is a way to keep the excitement going for NHL in Utah?
Absolutely. Oh, this is crucial. So when you offer affordable tickets, give tickets away, charge $10, you've got to get, people in seats. You got to get the backside sitting in the seats because you have to experience a live event. Now, I'm a huge sports guy, and people have this conversation with me all the time. Like, why would I go to the game when I can sit in front of my 80-inch big screen television and it's warm and cozy? And I tell them all the time, you will never remember the game you watch in your living room. Mm-hmm. You will remember the game and the time you went with your family to a live event, whether it's a sporting event or a concert. You can listen to Fleetwood Mac, the Rumors album, a million times. But if you see Stevie Nicks play live, you will never forget that. So I think there is so much energy initially for a team that moves into a community. Now they're here. You have to find lifelong fans. You've got to draw them in.
And you're going to do it with $10 tickets?
Absolutely. Because
I think you're right.
Oftentimes you only need to experience it once to say, oh, I love this. I didn't even realize I loved hockey, but I love it now.
So this is right off the Utah Hockey Club website, by the way. Smith's shoppers can now buy $10 Utah Hockey Club value tickets following any purchase greater than $20 at participating locations. Okay, so I got to figure out, is your Smith store up in Davis County, is that a participating location? Okay. I got to figure out if my Smith store out in South Jordan is. All of them? Okay. So $10, so you can buy these. You can purchase two $10 single goal view tickets, so you can see one.
They're not great seats, but they're seats.
Per $20 spent, and you can buy as many as 8 tickets per $80 purchase. Okay. So,
yeah, $20
so
ticket.
You can take your family.
$20 at Smith's will get you 2 tickets. $40 will get you 4. $80 will get you 8.
It gets even better than that. It includes a hot dog and a bottled water.
You're going to feed me too. I love it.
And give you a bottled water. Okay, this is what I think is the best part of this deal. Because I'm always worried about the rising cost of tickets on the secondary market, right? Somebody goes out and buys a handful of these $10 tickets, and the next thing I know, they're on a secondary resale site, and now this $10, is $40. So you can't transfer them. They're non-transferable. Tickets purchased through the program are non-transferable and cannot be resold.
Love it.
Reserving the focus on providing affordable experiences to individuals, families, and students.
Now we're getting somewhere.
I think that is the best part of this deal. They are also doing this with Moxie Pest Control. So there's two different programs. The one at Smith's, and then the one through Moxie. And the Moxie Pest Control deal provides students enrolled in any university with an exclusive $10 ticket offer, which also includes that delicious hot dog and bottled water. So if you're a student enrolled at any Utah university, you can get a $10 ticket. Doesn't seem like that one. You don't have to go to Smith's and buy and purchase anything to qualify for that. I love this, and I love that it is not transferable. So you can't get you don't get the ticket scalpers out there buying up all these tickets to then price you out of an event with your family.
Is it true? I think I read somewhere that you have to have a .edu email to qualify for that if you're a student. So, yeah, part of what is the genius of this, or why it's important to involve the community, and you're going to probably lose money on a $10 ticket, right? And you could probably sell it for $40 elsewhere, but it's crucial. We are going to spend nearly $1 billion of taxpayer money to redo the Delta Center. We're going to invest somewhere around $3 to $4 billion on a 3-block downtown renovation. We are making massive investments into the downtown. We have to have the hockey club and the Jazz succeed. We've got to have fans that are willing to travel and pay thousands of dollars a year for season tickets and buy jerseys and buy hockey sweaters. You've got to have that kind of investment. If you're spending $1 billion to redevelop it to a hockey club that nobody cares about, that is catastrophic.
See, I'm looking at this from a totally selfish point of view. I have written off for my no spend, low spend 2025 events, professional sporting events, going to concerts. So I had our producer, I asked her, I'm like, can you please look up how much it would cost me to go to the Keith Urban concert at USANA and sit in the pit? Okay, I love going to USANA. I've been to tons of concerts out there. But I'm going through a low spend, no spend year, so it's like $524
to be in the pit.
To be in the pit. Justin Timberlake at the Delta Center, $442 in the pit.
He's more affordable than Keith Urban. Wow.
Here's a good seat. This is a good seat. Half court, Jazz Brooklyn Nets. Is that the name of the team now? I didn't know that. That's how I got to get with the NBA. Jazz Brooklyn Nets at the Delta Center, half court. This is section 18, row 1, $392. Row 11, section 17, much more affordable, $127.
Okay, now let that settle in your mind a minute. The Jazz are one of the worst basketball clubs in the entire NBA right now.
This must be resale, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a resale
all
site.
of these are resale, right? But
sorry, I didn't mean to. I was like, that just shocked me.
But you charge what you can get. So this is during a down year for the Jazz, and you're looking at almost a $400 ticket. Now, if this was the heyday of the Jazz and they're playing incredibly, a $400 half court row 1 seat, that is a bargain.
Yeah, so the $10 ticket for the Utah Hockey Club, sign me up. I got to go shopping at Smith's this weekend. Straight ahead, we're going to check in with KSL's movie show for the big movie of the week. Steve and Andy on standby. What's the question of the week? Let's look at that. What's a movie that's cult status baffles you? I'll have to think about that one. They're up next.
Finally Friday.
I know you're sick of the political climate, and every day you fight a hopeless war. I know you think your girlfriend hates you in secret, but don't take it out on me. It's nothing to do with me.
With Dave and Dujanovic.
Our military faces a crisis. Recruitment down. Morale weak. Our leaders more focused on going woke than killing terrorists and defending America. President Trump nominated Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense to change things. Hegseth isn't an insider or a swamp dweller. He's a decorated veteran of the United States Army who deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. And he's exactly who we need leading the Department of Defense. Hegseth will ban woke nonsense from our armed forces, strengthen our military, and make our soldiers proud to serve. Call your United States Senator at 202-224-3121. Tell them stand with Trump. Confirm Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense. Again, call your senator at 202-224-3121. Tell them to vote to confirm Pete Hegseth and make our military great again. Paid for by American Leadership PAC.
This statement has not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
When it comes to my lifestyle and diet, I don't always make the smartest choices.
Touchdown! Woo! Hey, how about another round and some more chips?
But when it comes to taking care of my liver, I do make one very smart choice. Active liver tablets from New Nordic. I used to have real issues with my liver, and at my last checkup, my doc was concerned about my numbers. But since adding a once-a-day active liver tablet, my gut's better, I feel great, and my doctor's happy. I ask a lot of my liver, so the least I can do to say thanks is a daily dose of Active Liver.
You ask a lot of your liver, so give it the support it needs with Active Liver. You can find Active Liver at Amazon.com, or for a volume discount, visit NewNordicUSA.com. Go to new, NORDICUSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. New year, new you, New Nordic.
Dave and Dujanovic. The following preview has been rated G and is appropriate for all audiences.
Well, the big movie of the week, Better Man. Can't wait to hear what it's all about from Steve and Andy, who are on standby for us. And I've already, spoiler alerted the audience on your movie show question of the week. What's a movie that's cult status baffles you? Hi, guys.
Hey, Deb.
Where are you guys
So
at
do you want
this
to do the
week?
question first, or do you want to do the...
It's dealer's choice. You decide. You're the boss.
Ooh. Oh, wow. Let's do... Well, you know what? Since you've brought up the cult movie status, let's talk about that. Because I found that there's not everybody knows what the definition of a cult movie
Apparently
is,
I
including
don't.
Steve Sales. So
Get out of here. Steve doesn't know a cult movie?
Well, I thought I did until Andy.
He's like listing off like the English Patient.
He
and he's
mansplained it to me and then finally got it.
So a cult movie is a movie that didn't really get any critical love. It didn't necessarily get a lot of box office love, but there's a group of people who love this movie and just are dedicated. They will die on this hill defending this movie to you, even though nobody else likes it.
Sounds like all the movies on my list.
But The English
Your
Patient
job.
won an Oscar. You can't use that as a cult movie.
So what's yours, Andy? Give us an example.
Yeah.
Well, for me, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I have no idea why everybody loves
This
that.
one?
Come up to the lab and see what's on the slab. I see you shiver.
Oh, is that
with
Tim Curry? Is that right?
That is Tim Curry.
Okay.
I just don't
All he
understand
does
what the
is
love
cult
is for
movies.
this thing is. That is true.
It's
I
all
love
the props that you bring to the movie. Toast. You got to have a
squirt
squirter.
guns, a raincoat.
You got to have a newspaper.
Steve,
It's
did you
all-
have one?
Well, I thought I did, but Dune, the first Dune, Andy about lit up
because I thought he was talking about Denis Villeneuve's Dune.
Yeah, no,
he's
the
talking
old David Lynch's Dune from 1984. What a piece of garbage that thing was.
There's people
but
that
that's
love
the thing.
it, though,
So there
right?
are people who love it, yes,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. So it's the movie that you don't know why people love it.
Like The Notebook.
And yet they
I
that
kind of
made
get
money.
I kind of get that when I tell people this is my favorite movie of all time.
can't believe we drove around all day and there's not a single job in this town. There is nothing, nada, zip.
No.
Yeah?
I
Unless
knew
you
it.
want to work 40 hours a week. Here. I'm going to go to the store. Okay, just get the bare essentials. This is the last of our dough. Hey, what do I look like?
Dumb and Dumber, but that's not a cult movie.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so this is where Steve and I disagree because I believe that Dumb and Dumber had enough commercial success that it shouldn't necessarily qualify as a cult movie, but that was one he put on his list.
Actually, it was the first thing I thought of when we talked about it on Wednesday.
I
thought,
Dumb and Dumber.
Deb's going to hate this.
No, I'm all on board with that. Yeah, for
But
sure.
so you don't understand why people love Dumb and Dumber, Deb?
Well, I guess I just didn't understand the definition of a cult movie or cult status movie until you explained it. I was kind of in Steve's camp on that.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you like Dumb and Dumber, right? Am I
love
wrong?
it.
I thought
Oh, yeah,
you
no,
and
I
I were
love
the
it.
same.
Oh,
on
yeah,
it.
she loves it.
I
Okay,
love
so
it.
you would be the reason that other people are baffled. Like, why do you love this movie?
Right, exactly. I have
Like
to,
me.
and then I have to, I have to go through all the jokes and explain why I continue to laugh even 30 years later.
My wife has absolutely no understanding why I love Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Always look on the bright side of life.
Is that the Holy Grail or is that just Monty Python in general?
Always look on the light
That one is
side
actually
of
from.
life.
Is that Life of
That
Brian?
one's from Life
Is that
of
Life
Brian.
of Brian? Yeah. No, I was going to say that's not Monty Python and the Holy Grail. But my wife does not understand at all Napoleon Dynamite, another one that she's like, why do
Okay,
you love that
sign
one
me
so
up.
much?
There you go. I'm with
That's
that.
on a,
Napoleon- you don't
that's on
like
a bunch of
Napoleon.
lists.
I do.
That
Oh,
is
okay,
a
you
fair
Yeah, sign me up.
suggestion.
But it did make money.
Napoleon did?
I mean, it kind of did.
Okay,
That's but that's a good argument.
Here's one that I think we can all agree. Like, it's not very often that we would all agree on this, but the one that should baffle you more than anything is Kevin Bacon's Tremors. I just thought about this. I don't even have the audio. Is there anything that should baffle you more than the cult classic Tremors?
That's a
Other
good
than it's a
point.
riveting movie.
I didn't like it that much.
I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, stop it, Steven.
Oh, no, I'm not kidding. I thought it was hysterical.
I do love that Reba McEntire and the dad from Family Ties are like gun-toting
Yeah.
crazies. That was about the only thing I liked about it. though.
Yeah, Fred Ward.
Yeah, I don't
and-
get why people love it. Like, it's fine, but I don't get why people love it.
They love it.
Well, they loved it enough to make 2 or 3 more, and they all got progressively more hideous and stupid.
Can next
Shocker.
week's movie show question of the week be butter or no butter on your popcorn? Can we just keep it super simple? That's like, or what kind of candy do you like to sneak into the theater? You know?
Debbie, you sneak things into the theater?
Not anymore. I did when I was a broke college student.
End up in handcuffs.
Yeah.
We found some popcorn pants at NPS last week that there was like
So
popcorn
cute.
print, and I was like, oh, you could sneak popcorn in your pants.
Anytime I go to Megaplex, it's definitely I buy the hot tamales. You know, the hot tamales, no butter on my popcorn, a large Diet Coke, with a cherry flavoring in it every
do
single
like that.
time. And when
Frozen.
I go
Have you
by
ever
my
done hot tamales in your popcorn with
no,
the butter?
but I will now.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
give us
right.
your best 2 minutes on Better Man, guys. The movie of the
Okay,
week.
so Better Man is the story of British pop singer Robbie Williams, who was part of a group called Take That in the 90s, but then went solo. He's most probably known for the song Angels that came out about 2003-ish. I didn't know anything about him before the movie. I know more about him now after the movie, but honestly, the whole gimmick of Better Man, Steve, is...
Well, yeah, if you don't accept the fact that he is made to look like an ape, like a chimpanzee through the whole movie, if you can't deal with that, you're going to be out of your mind for 135 minutes.
Yeah, so Steve did not like the length. And
well, I mean,
it was
I thought,
2 hours and 15 minutes about a dude I didn't know anything about. So I wasn't going to see this because I was like, boy, I can't wait to see what Robbie
but
Williams.
it was so distracting that he was, in ape attire.
I got over that real quick.
I never did.
Interesting.
But the movie itself would have been fantastic without the nonsense, the monkey business.
Do they explain or do you buy why they would depict him as a chimpanzee?
Well, he says it right at the beginning of the movie. He says, this is how I've always seen myself, kind of as a trained monkey performing for others.
Yeah. And, in fact, the director asked him, he says, what's your spirit animal look like? He goes, lion? He goes, no. How about a monkey? And he goes, done. And that was it. They go, okay, we're going to make you into a monkey for 135 minutes.
And I will argue during the show why I thought that worked better than it should have, but didn't necessarily make the movie the greatest either.
Well, I will look forward to you guys' in-depth analysis of Better Man, the meteoric rise and fall of Robbie Williams. I love that song, though, by the way. So thanks, Steve and Andy, so much. We look forward to the movie show coming up.
Yeah, you'd be proud of me, Dave. I started to watch the movie Fall Guy on the streaming app this week.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Just a year late.
And I only got halfway through it.
You only made it. You stopped
I'll
a
finish
90-minute
watching
movie
it this weekend. Look forward to the movie show straight ahead.
Attention home buyers, want to save hundreds on your mortgage payment or buy a bigger, nicer home? Visit SaveRight.com. This is Rod with the SaveRight team at Realty Path. SaveRight, our name says it all. SaveRight real estate clients often save $300 to $600 a month on their mortgage. Life of loan savings can be over $300,000. SaveRight clients qualify for and buy bigger, nicer homes. Interest rates are around 7%. SaveRight clients can get fixed rates in the 5s. Our affiliate lender makes it all possible. You can even start with a rate in the 2s. If you're buying or selling a home in Utah, save a ton of money. Hire the SaveRight team of realtors. Visit SaveRight.com for more information.
Bombas makes the most comfortable socks, underwear, and T-shirts.
Warning, Bombas are so absurdly comfortable you may throw out all your other clothes.
Sorry, do we legally have to say that?
No, this is just how I talk, and I really love my Bombas.
They do feel that good. And they do good, too. One item purchased equals one item donated.
To feel good and do good, go to bombas.com/radio and use code radio for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/radio and use code radio at checkout.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? It seems impossible to find them. Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go. ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It's the movie show, guys. Andy Farnsworth and Steve Sales. Movie show about to start here in a couple of minutes, but we want to talk with our friends at Minky Couture in Layton, where we are right now with Lisa. Lisa, movie 55, what does that mean?
That will give your listeners 55% off any full-priced blankets in-store or online, and that code will go through Saturday. So if you can't make it in to one of the stores today, you can still come in tomorrow, or you can use it online through Saturday as well.
Now, we were talking with you because you guys have your Valentine's Minkies this year ready for Valentine's Day. So if you want one that's actually Valentine's themed, you guys have a new selection. And we found out you guys do different prints every year that are exclusive to each year.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Hallmark, ornaments, like every season, right? So every year, Minky Couture for the holidays, they have a new collection that comes out for Valentine's Day, Easter, Mother's Day, Halloween. So for each of those holidays, we have a unique collection just for that year.
So describe us this year's.
Yes, so this year we have three darling options. We've got one that is a pink with the XOXO and hearts, and then we have a cute little bow one, and because bows are all the rage, and then we've got a red and pink floral one as well. So.
And those are, but then guess what? The movie 55 discount works on any blanket.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be Valentine's themed. It's good for and I recommend you get the big one. Okay, maybe the Grande might be just a little too big. Maybe you're not as tall as me. You're not 6 feet tall. But
just
you've
wrap it
got
around you
the
twice.
Monster. You've got the adult. Wrap it around your waist.
Yeah.
Or share, right? What's the?
Oh, see, Lisa's
Get under
thinking.
that blanket with another person.
And I tell you what, it is the softest thing you have ever felt. When you pull it out of the package, you can't believe something can feel that soft.
Yeah, they're amazing.
And don't forget, by the way, you said you washed it finally, which is a little disturbing. But if you wash it, as long as you don't use fabric softener, it comes out perfect.
Yeah, and we didn't dry it. We hung it to dry,
Yes,
and it was
tumble
just
dry.
as soft when I was finished.
Yeah.
And so these do keep their softness. And
They
yes,
do.
the
They're-
fabric softener is the big key.
Yes, avoid that.
So come to any of the Minky Couture locations, including saying hi to us here in the Layton store. Their doors are already open, or you can go to minkycouture.com, and the Movie 55 discount is good through today and tomorrow.
Yes.
Come in store for best selection and to take it home today.
Yep.
All right, Lisa, thank you.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Jessica Lowell. KSL's top story this hour: at least 10 people are confirmed dead from the Palisades and Eaton fires in Los Angeles County, but officials say that number is expected to rise. ABC's Alex Stone is in the hard-hit Altadena.
In this neighborhood, it is quiet. There are no humans around. Every home on both sides of the street, as far as one can see, every home is gone. But there is a sign of life before Wednesday morning. In a driveway here where children had written names and symbols of love in chalk, like children do, on the driveway. That made it through the fire, but the home at the end of that driveway is gone.
More than 10,000 structures have been destroyed in the fires. President-elect Trump was sentenced this morning in his hush money case in New York. He won't serve any jail time or pay any fines. Judge Juan Merchant imposed an unconditional discharge at sentencing in the case, citing respect for the presidency. Taylorsville police are searching for a man accused of stabbing 2 other men during a mugging. Police say the 2 men were pulled over on the side of the road because of an issue with a car. The suspect threatened them with a knife, demanding money, and then after not being satisfied with the amount, stabbed them. Anyone with information is encouraged to contact police. Your money at this moment looking like a down day on Wall Street. The Dow is down 642 points. S&P has lost 86. NASDAQ down 312. Coming up, some storms could be rolling in tomorrow. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:02.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage? You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Mobil 1 can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $38.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
This is Derek Overstreet of the New Millennium Group and host of Stop Working and Start Living Radio. If you're close to or in retirement and you don't have a tax plan, call us right now, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. Listen, our country's been spending like never before, and the tax bill is coming soon. If you need an income tax strategy and a financial plan that will get you through the rest of your life, give my team a call, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. If you want an investment plan that allows you to keep more of your gains and pay less taxes, give us a call, 888-999-6370. My team specializes in the type of plan that will get you retired 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible. So, get a no-cost tax analysis by calling 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. My team is standing by now.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage? You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Mobil 1 can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $38.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by My Style Checking from Mountain America Credit Union. Here's Heather Kelly.
Our earlier crashes on I-15 have cleared, so there's no delays anymore, whether you're northbound or southbound.